Hey guys, Driven to Chunk, and this is going to be the first episode of a series that I'm going to do for new players called Welcome to Project Diablo 2. And this series is going to be aimed at just going over what all the changes are that Project Diablo 2 offers to vanilla Diablo 2, I should say. And I know mods can be intimidating for new players, and maybe these new players are just played Diablo 2 Resurrected, and they never even considered that there are mods for Diablo 2. I didn't know until I think 2019 or 2020 or something is when I first played Path of Diablo. Of course, there's Midian XL, which are all very cool mods, but Project Diablo 2 takes the cake. It really does, and I think that's kind of the sentiment across the community in general. Is they do such a fabulous job with this, and this mod deserves all the praise that it garners for the work that this development team did. And yeah, it's just they're killing it. And what we're gonna do is, if this video gets liked enough, and enough people are interested in it, I will go through every single change that they have if they want. Today is going to be general changes, and then just also some in-game showcasing of some changes that we've received. But like I said, if enough people like and subscribe, and this helps new players, introduce them to this mod, and they like it, I'll go through it all. I'll go through corrupting, I'll go through crafting, I'll go through all the unique weapons that they changed, skill reviews. So anyway, just want to say thanks again for everybody and all their comments and subscribing and likes from the previous videos that I posted with Storm Barb and Big Bonk, Asylum, Paladin, and stuff like that. Always fun. I always like to do that. I'm just doing those builds just for myself, kind of thing, stuff that I tested. But without further ado, let's get into some of this video to hopefully help some new players who might be coming in for Season 11 get acclimated to what the changes are in Project Diablo 2. Starting off, we'll just go over what the Project Diablo 2 team's mission statement is. It says here, we aim to maintain the Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction experience and provide consistent ladder resets while improving on the game as if the development never ceased. So that's really what they're baseline fundamentals that they want to do. They're not trying to completely turn this game that we all love up on its head and just do kind of crazy things that things like Midian XL does, which is cool that they do that. They want to keep the core essence of what Diablo 2 is for the player base, and they want to do that by providing continual updates, rebalancing, reworking, whether it's skills, items, adding endgame, which they've added tons of stuff. They want the game to still feel like the game that everyone knows and loves and stuff like that. So we get continual resets every 4 to 5 months, and lots of balancing changes, and some of the nerfs, to certain things might seem like a bad thing, but balancing is good, even if it requires a nerf. I'm never opposed to any changes that they really do make. I am trusting a lot of the devs. They know more than me and know better than me about a lot of stuff. They're incredibly intelligent and dedicated fans, and they're very passionate about this, and passion always wins in my experience. So before we get into general changes, I'm going to go into game, and I can actually highlight and show you guys some of the most amazing things that this mod provides that Diablo 2 doesn't provide, Diablo 2 Resurrected doesn't provide, and maybe give you guys a taste, a little carrot on the string to maybe come over and download this mod, which is free, and give Season 11 a try. Okay, here we are in the Project Diablo 2 mod. This is a non-ladder character, since currently the ladder's in beta testing, open beta testing right now, and I just kind of give myself a break and don't play open beta so I don't burn myself out or use up that RNG possibly. But right off the bat, we can already see changes that this mod provides of quality of life. One, it's in full screen mode. It has uncapped FPS. It has upscale graphics using the D2 GL mod that somebody created. I can't remember his name. I feel bad, but it's amazing. Upscaling rework, and they incorporated the D2 GL mod into Project Diablo 2. So you don't even need to go and download a separate mod to get graphics like that. And this is the Diablo 2 that I remember as a kid playing in 2000 or 2001 whenever I first played this. But if you go back and look at the graphics with Diablo 2 Resurrected and switch back and forth, it don't look like this. It's back then it was pixelated, it had capped frames, and it was stuttery, and it honestly kind of abrasive to look at. I mean, we love the game, but this is what I remember. And there's just tons of changes. I'll go through and look. You can configure it with video options. I mean, of course, you're already seeing tons of changes. Here's screen shake you can turn off. So when you summon Diablo in Chaos Sanctuary, you don't have to kind of look away as the thing spazzes out. Turn it off. Translucent party, what that means is if you're playing in a party with multiple people, all the abilities, with Blizzard or Firestorm and all this stuff happening on the screen can be a little much. You can hit translucent and your party's abilities will be the opacity will be turned down, so they're more translucent. So anyway, but what I was getting at is D2 GL, and if you wanted to change it all up, here it is. You can adjust all the graphics, upscale with shaders, change everything, make it look the way that you want it to look. Is it Diablo 2 Resurrected graphics? Of course not. Those guys had $1 billion budget pretty much. They did great work for it, but for a dedicated fan group of developers and moderators and stuff to create this, it's beautiful. And it's an amazing thing, and I wanted to highlight that thing first off. So let's go over to another thing that I wanted to showcase that I can use in game. Right off the bat, you already see changes. We have a bigger player stash. We have our designated charm slots. So charms will only work in this lower section of the inventory. So now you don't have to stuff your character with charms and use the Heraldric Cube to be your actual inventory. It's a beautiful change. It's great. And I know Path of Diablo had the same thing, stuff like that. But wonderful. Of course, over in the inventory, you see we have shared stash tabs, and they give you more stash tabs than Diablo 2 Resurrected, as well as bigger stash tabs. But the amazing thing that we got this season and update, even though the season hasn't dropped yet, that Ori gave it to us, is this. What is this? It's a currency tab and materials tab. We have all of our runes. We have Uber materials. We have, these are end game Uber materials, even more Uber materials. We have corrupting stones. You have all your jewels or gems, excuse me. You can have jewel fragments. So for crafting, you need jewels, and instead of having a whole inventory just full of jewels like this to list out, you can actually break jewels down and just stack them. And how much can you stack? You can stack to the absolute max that they can go, which is 9,999. So amazing thing. And you might be like, well, why are some of these dark and this one's? Because I don't have any of them here, but this will be a great example. Let's just go ahead and just dump them all in my inventory randomly. And the reason that they're here right now is because I'm just playing this character, and I haven't tested. I haven't changed it. I haven't moved over to the materials tab yet. So, what happens? Do I have to like drag and drop each one in here? Nope. I can just, where'd it go? Did I drop it over on the ground? Nope. It moved it over automatically. So anytime you move anything over, which again, shift left click to just automatically move things over. I can't remember if that's in Diablo 2 Resurrected. They don't go anywhere else in my inventory. They're not on the ground. All on the tab. Nice and neat. And I can just pull them out with a left click if I want that. Put it back over there. If I want multiple, I can put it right into my cube, that's what I did with that one. Boom. Amazing. Huge. The fact that Diablo 2 Resurrected has a giant budget and a giant team of developers, and they can't get off their ass and make something like this. Come on. Come on. So amazing, beautiful, love it. Another thing I can showcase in game and give you guys an example, another beautiful thing. Our mercenary. Originally, you only got chest, helm, and weapon. Well, now you got gloves, belt, and boots. So you can put full sets on these people. I could put the whole Mavina set on this Act 1 Merc. And, I could put the whole IK set on the Act 5 Merc, the Barbarian Merc, and stuff like that. And speaking of Mercs, this team went above and beyond and created an Act 4 Merc. What is an Act 4 Merc? Light and dark. One will give holy damage and one will do amp damage. So one has a sanctuary aura and cast things like Holy Bolt and stuff like that. The dark one will cast, I think it casts Teeth or Bone Spirit, I forget, and then it will allow you to, it'll also cast amp damage on you as well. What does it look like? Here, let's check it out. Boom, there he is, running around like a badass. So cool. It's obviously the Dark Wanderer, but they updated some character, the model details on it as well. And then you'd be like, well, what happened to your gear? Didn't you just lose all your gear? Nope, it drops on the ground. So I can pick it up, or I can go like this, give it to him like that. He's going to put it to good use. And he can't use a bow, unfortunately, but these characters can use staves and things like that nature. So they have faster casting and things like that. And they benefit from that. And there's just been an overall Merc rework for a lot of their abilities, yada, 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 that we'll get into on another video. But that is just a beautiful thing that I wanted to highlight. Another thing I can show you guys about a really cool change with Project Diablo 2 is the introduction of Worldstone Shards. Path of Exile players will recognize the ability of these things as Val Orbs. They corrupt an item, adding, as it says there, it can add sockets. It can add a random affix to any things. There's different tiers. So there's low tier affixes that you can hit on an item that provide things like, let's just look over here. See, I slammed this one with a little red dot at the bottom. There's soul drainers, but now I have MF on it, kind of thing. So there's different tiers. There's some that are really, really good, that are like double affixes. You can get like on a weapon, you can get attack speed and enhanced damage, or maybe you get enhanced damage and crushing blow or something like that. Beautiful. And then you can also get max sockets on an item, which I didn't slam this one. I think I bought this one, but as you see at the very bottom, the little asterisks, red asterisks, I have 6 sockets on this Odyssean's Awakening. You know, what's Odyssean's Awakening? Well, it's a new item that they got. So there's tons of new items in here, and they're not so crazy that they're game breaking or new rune words like Mosaic that are just going to ruin the game because they're just too powerful. Now all of their builds are redundant. This team really focuses on keeping things in check. But anyway, back to what corrupting things can do. What you do is you take your corruption shards, was kind of what would start dropping in normal, and this is another form of currency that you can use a trade that people like. And as you can see, you can stack stuff. So again, it might be a little spastic going all over the place, but there's so many changes. I'm going to try to stay on path. So anyway, corrupting shards. You can take an item here. We have a perfect Nagel ring that we just had. Let's corrupt it. Oh, it survived. And then we added PDR on this, 3%. It's amazing. That's actually a really good Nagel ring, you know. So it adds a whole new dynamic to items and the ability to create just your own new unique character and your new unique gear and stuff like that. Now, corrupting items does have a chance to brick the item or destroy it, more or less. And it doesn't just destroy it to nothing. What it will do is if it's a unique item and you brick it, let's say if I slammed these and the corruption didn't work, it would turn it into a rare glove. So there is the risk and then the reward for using corrupting shards. And it's one of the most fun aspects of this game. There's a saying in this mod that the item is not real unless it's slammed. So keep that in mind. So wonderful thing. I just want to show just some quick highlights about, you know, some aesthetics and some quality of life things real quick that you can do that might make people consider. I mean, this alone, come on, it's beautiful. It is beautiful. And this wasn't even planned. It just Canite, one of their developers, just, you know, kind of started this on his own, and then it really kind of started taking off. And yeah, he wanted to, they thought they could do it, and they did it. And this game is now better for it with a currency tab. And again, let's just do it again. I'm going to go right there so we can watch it in real time. Boom, 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 boom. Let's adding everything. Shift right click to move things over to the inventory. Control right click to drop things. Control shift, even says little things right there to unstack. Control shift left click to drop individually. Things like that. And one of the beautiful things about you know, when things come out in stacks and stuff like that, this little icon, the little cross icon in there is, say you have a open socket thing here, and you're just moving your stuff around, not really paying attention, and you accidentally, oh no, you know, I don't want to socket it in there. Well, you don't have to worry about that now. You cannot socket things on accident without taking it out of stacked form. Let's see, sorry, alt tabbing, taking it out of stack form, and yeah, and then now you can put them in. And then I can convert it back to stack form, add it to the stack, move it over, send it over to the materials tab. Amazing. Another thing too, you see shared bank. They have increased the gold limit amount for all characters. It's gone through some different iterations over the seasons. Now every play, it used to be 1 million that you can hold on your person, and then 8 million on in your stash. Now you can hold, I think, 8 million on your person. In your personal one, you can hold like 5 million, and then in the shared stash, which will go between all your characters, you can hold 10 million. So that's well over 24 million gold you can now store on your person, just quality of life. Another thing about gold, just like Diablo 2 Resurrected, you can pick up gold just walking over it. So amazing quality of life for that thing. So let's go back to the general changes and we'll just go through those. Okay, here we are back on the wiki page, which again, you can get to the wiki page through their main homepage for Project Diablo 2, where you would download the mod and stuff like that. And the Project Diablo 2 wiki page is amazing. It's really well kept and really well updated. There might be a few things that have changed in some of the stuff, but it's not like completely outdated from like years and years ago, where the things you read here aren't going to apply to the game itself. So we're just going to start with general changes, and this will kind of go over a lot of just an overview of stuff, and then there's more detailed ones with like skills and things like that. But we'll just go. I think this is a great spot to start, and just for new players to understand what this mod has really changed and what they have to look forward to. So right off the bat, let's go into skills. All skills have been reviewed and balanced or reworked if necessary to ensure each has a niche, and some new skills have been added. The skill overview page lists mechanical changes for each skill. There's also a skill planner, which is really, really cool. Go over here, and you can just build out using the Project Diablo 2 values and things like that. So very, very cool. And again, all links for everything will be in the description as well. See all skills for a complete list of the details per level. That'll be another video we'll go to. So anyway, moving on. Individual items. All unique set and Runeword items have been reviewed and balanced to improve itemization options, and some new unique equipment items have been added. See all items for a complete equipment list. There are also several new non-equipment items, for example, Worldstone Shards, which we saw, and then large PuzzleBoxes, which I didn't show you, that can the Worldstone Shards can corrupt items, and then the large puzzle box can add sockets. So for one-hand weapons, it can add 1 to 2 sockets. For two-hand weapons, it can add I think it's 1 to 4, maybe it's 2 to 4, can't remember. But anyway, another cool chase item, and these things actually go for a lot. They're actually very sought after. Jewel fragments can now be stacked and use jewels like for recipes and stuff like that. Very, very, very cool. Like I said, you can break jewels down with putting them in your cube and putting a key, and it will reduce them to a stackable thing that you can use for crafting and stuff like that. And they also, I forgot to show in the in-game stuff, they have pre-made crafting things, so safety crafting, where you can just, if you find them in-game, you can actually just put them in the cube, the one little thing, and it will give you a safety craft of whatever item you're trying to use, things like that. Moving on, we have maps. Allow access to endgame zones. 28 new endgame zones in total. Maps are amazing. Think of Path of Exile endgame stuff, where monsters have increased chance for loot drop. Each player gets increased experience. There's monster density. They're completely new layouts. They're not like terror zones, which we also do have, but they're called corrupted zones, which corrupted zones make every monster up to level 85, no matter what zone it is. So even the Bloodmore, and corrupted zones have a chance to drop Worldstone Shards. So there's a benefit for that. Anyway, maps are amazing. And again, that'll probably be another video, but just kind of a highlight that. So we have endgame here, including Uber boss fights as well. So let's keep moving. General. Below is a comprehensive list of changes that don't fit in either of the previous categories. Bulleted points that follow pages are bulleted points that follow page links are described with more detail on those pages. So out of game changes. Widescreen support and improved graphics, customizable options like 60 plus FPS and HD text, Control O for shortcut, but now they added that to the menu. That's the D2 GL thing that we saw. A significant portion of the server code has been rewritten to be more performant. Amazing. A lot more stability on the server end for their side, and we'll see some of the changes that they did. volume of menu music reduced to better match the other volume levels. Well, now you can have a slider to just adjust whatever you want the menu music to be, or mute it, because before you'd fire up the game and it would just blast your eardrums with it. So now you can either turn it off or you can adjust it to the levels that fit you. More characters per account, up to 18, and account characters don't expire. So what happens if you play a ladder character? Once the ladder ends, it will be moved to non-ladder, and then you can keep it. A global ladder and interactions, regional servers, lobby games are no longer hidden after progressing to the next difficulty, and game difficulty is shown as well. Lobby games can be filtered by name, difficulty, server type. Game name, passwords, descriptions can be auto-filled and will generate to the next game, and they're auto listed. So say you make a game, whatever, Driven to Chonk 1. And before, if I backed out of that game, I'd have to go create a new game, and I'd have to type Driven to Chonk 2 because Driven to Chonk 1's already used, and I have to put in the password again, and I have to do that every time. You know, say you're running Trav and you're backing out a lot. It's kind of annoying. It slows you down a little bit. In Diablo 2, Project Diablo 2, you can just back out, and then you go to create a game, and it's already bumped the game name up to, we're in Driven to Chonk 1. Now we're in Driven 2. And then back out of that one, then it goes to Driven 3, and it just automatically does it for you. Huge quality. As long as you put a number behind it, it will continue to count up. Games now perm in 2 minutes. So that's one of those things that back in the day, you know, you're transferring items between your characters for your mule and stuff like that, and you would have to, you know, if you didn't have a buddy to stay in the game with you, so the game didn't disappear on you if you backed out. The games will now become permanent, temporarily, obviously, after 2 minutes of the game existing. And you don't really need to mule that way anymore either, because you have the shared stash tabs. Game servers have rolling resets every 4 hours, and this is for stability reasons. Announcements are no longer made every time a friend joins or exits the game. It reduces spam. Announcements for ladder accomplishments, deaths, and stuff like that. So every new ladder, you know, first sorceress to level 50, you know, it gives a little announcement, and it's separate for softcore and hardcore. And this includes like uber boss kills and stuff like that. It'll pop up, and or if, you know, the ranked number 1 hardcore player dies to a burning soul, it will show that. And I was like, rest in peace. And so it's kind of a cool thing. Cosmetic rewards, aura rewards for characters who reach 99 or defeat max difficulty D-Clone or Rathma, which is a new Uber fight, in each ladder season. Special account-wide lightning-infused auras rewarded to the first 3 of each class to achieve these feats. So there's kind of a boss race every season, and you can get those cool auras, which will last. Trade site, integrated and... integrated armory and ladder browser. So the trade site will definitely be its own video that we go over and stuff like that. And it's come a long way. Back in the first iteration of Project Diablo 2, you had to copy and paste to move things of that sort, and you're to post the item, and it was a little clunky. It was a little work in progress, but now it's incredibly easy. And like I said, I will make a trade video to help people get acclimated to that. But, you know, and there's really gonna be nothing listed right now, but I'm looking for a materials material. There it is. I don't even know if it's gonna find anything. Let's just see. Yeah, it's not gonna find anything because we're on non-ladder right now and nothing's really going on. But moving on from the trade site, support for ladder/non-ladder BattleNet and single player, including Runewords, Ubers, and single player and non-ladder. So back in the day, there used to be like ladder only Runewords and stuff like that. That's not the case anymore. You can get all that stuff in single player, including boss fights. No support for non-expansion classic or open BattleNet, but single player characters can still be played together with TCP by creating a virtual LAN between computers. So if you're a single player character, you can still play with your buddies through TCP. And this is the reason also I want to highlight why we don't have Diablo 2 resurrected graphics and we can't mod it or anything like that, because there is no TCP servers access anymore to Diablo 2 Resurrected. So that's how it is. And again, to me, graphics are kind of the least important. Like, they look cool. It's amazing, but I would rather take balancing, rework, new items, end game material over that any day. Moving on, messages that begin with exclamation point will not appear above the characters' heads. This was an attack vector for crashing servers. So they removed that because they wanted to make sure that the server integrity stayed where it is and people couldn't exploit that. No tolerance. This is one of the biggest ones too, right here. Right here. No tolerance for cheating or unfair practices such as botting, map hack, auto pickup, or real money trading. Take that, botters. And on top, I want to add to that too, this community has some of the best integrity of ever. I have never had a bad trade. When you play this game and you get into trading and you join someone's game to trade like a Griffin's Eye, don't be surprised if you see that person just drop, the Griffin's Eye on the ground or drop a burr on the ground or whatever. This is a thing of trust. If someone does try to steal something from you, you drop your Griffin's Eye for the trade and they grab it and back out. As long as you have their name of what happened, you can just go and report it to a mod, and the mods will give you the option, hey, do you want us to ban this guy and give you your item back? Or do you want him just to give the item back and, let bygones be bygones and maybe learn his lesson? So there's integrity in this. There's no botting. If they catch anybody with real money transaction, and they send people out to some of these sites, and try to make who are trying to sell their stuff, and they'll maybe it's kind of like a not a dead drop, what they call that, a controlled pickup or something that they do for like drug smugglers or something, to catch the other guy. They'll try to catch these perpetrators. There's no botting in this, so it maintains the economy for trading and everything. It's a beautiful system. It's absolutely wonderful. And I've had zero problems with trading. I've only had one bad trade interaction, but the guy was just mad because I lowballed him and he kept talking crap. Funny, there's a video, you can go find it on my YouTube page, and he was talking crap towards me I didn't lowball him. Like, people offer me half of everything all the time, and karma got him. About 5 minutes later, he ended up, his hardcore character died. So I know I like to think he was probably writing me another hate message or something like that, and it was funny. Anyway, moving on. Quality of life, bigger stash tab, as we saw, a bigger cube, I forgot to mention during that thing. So now you can actually craft like the larger bows or the larger items. Before Diablo 2, I forget what it was like a 4x3 or something like that, or 3x4, I can't remember. And they also added a bigger inventory. It's still only 10x4 for active charms. Shared stash tabs, as you saw. Maximum gold has been increased. They changed this. Like I said, the values that I told you are correct, so this hasn't been updated. Characters can now hold up to 1 million. Again, that changed. Stackable gems, stackable runes, stackable essences, stackable uber keys and organs, and tons of other stuff that you can stack. Tomes can now hold up to 80 scrolls each. Keys can stack up to 50. Characters will now automatically pick up gold when they run over it. As I said, loot dropped on unreachable tiles by flying enemies will now spawn at the nearest ground location. This was a big problem in Arcane Sanctuary. And Arcane Sanctuary is now one of the best places to farm high runes with all the ghosts there. But ghosts would like fly over to get you, and then they wouldn't drop loot if you killed them. And so now they fixed that. No problem. Customizable item filtering and drop notifications up in the left corner. I didn't know if you saw, but when I dropped items, they would pop up and things like that. So it's a beautiful thing for not missing out on a high rune that maybe dropped after your poison damage killed them off screen. Screen shake has been disabled, like I said. That's very nice. All active skills can now be bound on left click. So no more right click only for Paladin and things like that. A new move only skill, which makes the character move towards the selected location without attacking. That's incredibly helpful for hardcore. So now you can just have a move only thing, and then your designated attack on right click or something like that. Targeting monsters has been removed. If you name lock on an enemy and it dies, you will continue to attack instead of your character stopping all actions. This is beneficial for abilities like charge, and charge completely works now. Charge is a legit skill. Anyway. Options to quick cast skills. Activates the skill when the key is pressed rather than just switching to the skill and then having to use your mouse to click on it. Only primary keybinds will quick cast, whereas secondary keybinds will switch skills normally. So you can toggle to quick cast and you can play more in the vein of like how Path of Exile or Diablo, like a modern day RPG is, where it's like button pressing. People like to do that. I still play the old way, but it's very useful. I know people that enjoy it. New help screen, H by default, which covers some of the GUI changes, including additional shortcuts are listed in the settings menu. So there's a help menu for people in game. Shortcuts to add 5 stat/skill points. Control click when you're allocating your stat points, your attribute points, and your skill points. And add as many points as possible. Shift click, if you just want to add them all. Shortcuts for stacking and unstacking. Control shift click. As I talked about, you can stack and unstack runes or switch an item to be stackable, or not stackable, so you can put it in your gear. And separating individual items when stacked as pickup. There's all the hotkeys for that. Customizable screen info in the upper right corner that shows zone level and has an option for real time, elapsed game time in your ping, etc. Advanced character statistics page. Press 8 by default. I should have shown that in game. If you press 8, it will show a more detailed thing of your character's resistances, your elemental pierce, your physical resistance, flat and percentage. It'll show you your FCR, your increased attack speed, and your FHR, your faster hit recovery breakpoints, and it switches with abilities. Amazing. Very, very helpful. And if you open your Merc's inventory and then hit 8, it will show you your Merc's breakdown. I might add a little thing so you guys can see it. Inspect other characters. Default, press 0 while hovering over them in town. Also works outside of town while hovering over the characters or your own minions, Valkyries, Shadow Masters. So you can actually see what gear your not only other characters have, but or other players, your summons. Pretty cool. If you click a skill which can target them, such as if you select the skill which can target them, such as unsummon, so you can unsummon things. And speaking of which, if you unsummon Iron Golem, say you made an Infinity Iron Golem, you unsummon it, you don't lose the item. You actually get your item back. That's amazing. Options for auto partying and auto permitting corpse looting. If you want that. Options to show how much DPS, damage per second, the character has actually done. It's over your health globe. There's a DPS counter, which is very cool. New .roll command to help facilitate sharing loot and properties. So say you're playing in a group and a bird drops. And well, instead of being like who grabs it first, you can have a roll policy where you click .roll, your character will post rolls 87, and then everyone else in the thing will roll. It'll be like, oh, someone rolled 19, someone rolled 20, someone rolled 55. And you can determine whoever has the highest roll or the lowest roll can get the item. So it's just another way to kind of make a little more diplomacy and have a more of a democratic thing when it comes to items and drops and things like that. New .kills command shows how many enemy characters has been defeated. Use the following commands for all, .kill all bosses, maps, dungeons, declone, Rathma, Ubers, ancients, players. And it'll show you, how many players you killed, how many times you've killed declone, how many enemies you've killed, etc., etc. New .death command shows you how many times your characters died. New .played command shows total character playtime. Chat logs persist between games, which is very helpful if you're trying to trade and something happens and you fall out of the game and you need to get back and find the person's name. Stat ranges on item tooltips can be toggled on and off and shown temporary by hold control. So if it's not like Diablo 2 and you get an item and it has like 23% something, you're like, well, how high can this roll? Now you can see the values of the ranges. Displayed loot can be toggled on or off if you want it to show all or not show at all. Killing the Cow King no longer prevents you from opening the secret cow level, and Wirt's Leg from any difficulty can be used to open it. So you can farm Wirt's Legs in normal and you can open them in hell. The red portal to Nalathak's temple and Horogarth near Anya no longer closes permanently after defeating Nalathak. So you can just farm Pindleskin if you want. Reduce the delay to re-enter town portals, 75 frames to 15 frames, so way quicker. Antidote, thawing, and stamina potions now auto belt, so you can, if you want, you can put them in there if you want to keep them, and then if you pick up one off the ground, it'll automatically go to it, just like regular potions. Options to show miniature display for potion status, so I should have shown that too, but where your potion icon is, There's little markers that show the value. You know, if you have a colossal girdle that holds four per slot, it'll show you in the slots how many are remaining. Very, very cool. Characters can now hold multiple word legs and unique charms in their inventory stash. Still, only one of the charms can still be active at a time, so you can't just put a bunch of Annihilus charms in your inventory. Unique charms can be repurchased from vendors if you accidentally sold them, and several special items can no longer be sold to them to prevent accidents. So you can't accidentally sell something very important, and you can also buy back some unique charms. Inventory lock button prevents worn equipment, active charms from being accidentally removed. So if you're in your character's inventory, if you're trying to, fill rejuvenation potions or something like that, or move things around, you don't accidentally, there's a little button, a little lock icon. If you lock it, if you click over your weapon, you can't move your gear, and you would just unlock it to actually move things. Sorry, I'm pausing it here because I accidentally skipped over the last two after the inventory lock. So underneath inventory lock, it says gamble refresh button. I forgot to mention that. Gambling refresh, so you can go to Geeds, and instead of backing out and going back to them, whatever, there's just a little gamble refresh thing, and you can toggle it, or you can bind it to a hotkey to do that. So it makes people who want to gamble for circlets or amulets or whatever a lot easier to do that. And also, skills do not have cooldowns while in town. Anyway, let's get going. So, general balancing, new endgame maps, like I told you, and that'll be a separate video. We'll go over all the new maps and stuff like that and what they really do and the benefits of them. Many vanilla zones have had their zone levels raised to 85. So there's a lot more, like Maggot Layer and stuff is now a level 85 area. So you can farm that even without it being a corruption zone. So it's very, very useful. Vanilla zones can now temporarily be affected by corruption, which raises their zone level to 85 and increase their chance for Worldstone Shards to drop. A random zone will be selected every 15 minutes, and when the game is created, the zone will be corrupted for the duration of the game. Only applies in hell difficulty games where Bale Quest has been completed. So this is another end game thing, and you can just farm corrupted zones, and that includes Travancore, that includes Chaos Sanctuary, that includes Thrones of Destruction. And, even Bloodmore, Cold Plane. I'll run Cold Plane when it's corrupted because it's just easy and fun to run. Drop rates improved for low player count games. No drop chance when solo is similar to Vanilla's / player 5's level, but still scales up to similar difficulty with full games. So they have set the standard drop rate, at least, to players 5. So you're always going to have players 5 no matter what. And then once you scale up past players 5, then you get a little increase of full party. Flawless gems now start dropping in Act 4 normal, and perfect gems will start dropping in hell. So that's really, really nice. They kind of got rid of flawed and stuff like that. You don't need those for crafting anymore. Nightmare bosses now drop essences used for token of absolution. So you can actually, if you wanted to, for currency, early ladder reset, you can just farm nightmare bosses for essences. And essences always go for a lot because people like to respec and things like that, but people don't want to farm, Andariel or Bale or Duriel or all that stuff. Uber keys are now also dropped by Bloodraven, Blood Witch, and Izuel. So that helps some experience. You don't have to go farm Nilithak anymore. It makes it a lot easier. Experience penalty reduced between levels 20 to 24, so the cutoff is more gradual. That's nice. So anyway, it just makes it so you don't have to spend so much time leveling up in like Chaos Sank or something like that. Time between Bale's minion waves has been reduced by 50%, so you don't have to wait around for Bale to laugh at you and spawn all the stuff and blah blah blah. It's just way nicer now. The Mega Layer and Arcane Sanctuary in Act 2 have wider pathways, so it's not as narrow, it's not as clunky, it's much, much nicer. Arcane Sanctuary is amazing. The 3 red portal zones in Act 5, Abaddon, Pit of Acheron, Infernal Pit, have had their density increased by 40 to 50%. Mausoleum and Crypt have had their density increased by 9%. And then also these pits are level 85 now too. So it's a good spot to farm. They're quick. They're a little dangerous. They can spawn Stygian dolls, so careful of that. Lower Kuros no longer has a super chest due to the mismatched risk/reward. So no more lower Kuros farming. Sorry, sorceresses. Monsters that die from Chaos Sanctuary, seals, rather than being killed, will no longer drop loot. So no more seal popping, going around not even killing monsters, and then just doing that. So sorry. Running no longer hinders block chance or defense. So before, if you were running in D2, you weren't benefiting from your defenses or anything like that. So that's no longer a thing. Run away. Maximum resistance for characters Mercenaries reduced from 95% to 90%. It's fine. Don't let it shake you at all. Assassins start with 2 Katars. Barbarians start with 2 hand axes. Druids start with a +1 Firestorm Club, and all starting items are low quality. Noted as well, there is melee splash. So your starter item doesn't get melee splash, so it's better to just go pick up one. And melee splash makes every melee class play amazing. So I couldn't go back to a game to Diablo 2 that doesn't have melee splash. Sorry. Characters, wait a minute. Amazons, Assassins, Barbarians, and Paladins gain additional 0.5 mana per level. Characters have roughly 100% additional starting stamina. Stamina shrines now also grant 35% increased velocity, and their duration is reduced to match the other shrines. Many effects, shrine buffs, war cries, hit blinds targets will no longer overwrite or be overwritten by curses or each other. So that's nice. Shrines now affect all nearby allies when activated. So you pop it with your buddy, he gets an experience shrine as well. Pretty nice. And also, I don't know why it's not in here, but shrines stack. So you can just stack them. No problem. You have an experience shrine, you see a stamina shrine, grab them both. No problem. Antidotes, thawing potions now grant 25% to poison/cold resist. Was original 50. It's fine. And no longer grant 10% maximum cold light res. But I'm pretty sure cold resist does grant cannot be frozen, I want to say. Full rejuvenation potions now restore 65% life and mana, capped at 2,000 life and mana per potion. Throwing potions now decrease the enemy resistance by a small amount, and there are new throwing potions for cold, light, and lightning elements. Multiple instances of half freeze duration now combined to emulate the effects of cannot be frozen. So all you need is 2 sources of half freeze duration, say on 2 rings, and that equals cannot be frozen. It's actually really helpful, and there's a lot of items that you can get with that. And you can also slam cannot be frozen on a lot of items too, so keep that in mind. Using the Worldstone Shards. The chilled frozen debuffs now also reduce cast speed alongside run/walk speed and attack speed. Okay. Attackers take damage, and reflect mechanics now also affect range attacks and deal damage when attacked instead of when hit. Occurs before hit, so reflected damage kills the attacker. The attack won't land. So archers now, if they're shooting at you and you have some reflect damage, they'll take damage when they hit you. It's still, there's some things that don't work, like some spell things, and I have a Thorns barb play test through it, and we were able to kill Bale without hitting him once. It was pretty cool. Took a while, but it was cool. Open wounds now last 5 seconds, stacks up to 3 times per target, no longer has penalties against harder enemies, and also gets applied to enemies via reflect mechanics. Very cool. So reflect damage also applies your open wounds. Ranged attacks now leech half as much as melee attacks. Oh, okay, I got you. So like bows and stuff like that. So that's fair. You get a little more benefit from running up and actually hitting the thing as opposed to shooting arrows at it. Melee attacks have 1 additional range against moving targets and additional range when attacking for damage dealt. Crushing Blow has greater diminishing returns against bosses, act bosses, map bosses, Ubers, and the melee reduction is now the same as the range reduction. So Crushing Blow got nerfed, but it was a little overtuned, and it still feels fine, and Crushing Blow is still very important. They just wanted to curb how good like Smiter was, but Smiter still gets Crushing Blow and all that stuff. And a lot of the nerfs to some stuff, you'll find that it's rebalanced and reworked into other skills, whether by synergies or maybe gear. Like your power level doesn't feel diminished. In fact, you feel more powerful in this mod. Deadly, unless you're playing something like Mosaic and D2R, then whatever, go fuck yourself. Deadly Strike and Critical Strike rebalanced to improve itemization by making their own more compatible or more comparable to other item stats. and they now each cap at 75% instead of 100%, and multiply damage by 1.5 instead by 2. Skills have been rebalanced with an additional damage to compensate. That's exactly what I just said. So they compensated elsewhere. Maximum hit chance increased to 100%. Harsher scaling above 95%. Permanent summons now persist between games. Excludes reanimates, though, revives, and ravens, unfortunately. So if you're a summon druid, you get into a new game, you don't have to resummon everything. It's all still there. And that includes iron golems and stuff. So summons, except fire golems, will benefit from minus enemy resistances at half effectiveness. Abilities that reduce monster resistances have been rebalanced and now operate at half effectiveness when above 99% or below 0%. It used to be 1/5 when above 99%. Spells and abilities no longer share cooldowns globally. Skills from characters and their minions / items apply next hit delay separately. Characters will no longer cancel out of each other's damages when attacking the same target. Does not apply to monsters, so monsters don't have this benefit. Monsters gain 70+% life per player instead of 50% life per player, so it makes them a little tougher when there's more people in there. Okay, we're going to go to item changes. Low tier points, staff mods no longer have an upper item level limit. Items can now have any combination of point mods, provided that the item level is high enough for each of them. So point mods like, I don't know, like assassin skill pluses, plus the whatever, claws of thunder or something like that. They now will just appear more frequently on items. We'll get into some more of it here. Usable forbidden point mods are no longer restricted. Holy Shield, Smite, most barbarian combat skills, Poison Strike, Necro Shields, things like that. So there was some point mods that just didn't that you weren't allowed to have, and that's no longer a case. The chances for items to get point mods and for point mods to be higher have been increased. Here's some values here: the old chances, and then the new chances. So just better. Point mod gold costs per tier increased as well. I think this is just for purchasing them from vendors. Repair costs for superior items has been decreased. Weapon durability decreases at half the normal rate, so weapons you don't have to repair them as much. Some rune effects have been adjusted slightly. Again, runes will be for another day. Rares now get minimum of 4 affixes at item level 45, 5 at 65, 6 at 85. Rare jewels now always get 4 affixes. Set items can now be ethereal, like other rarities. Let's keep it going. This video is getting a little longer than I wanted to, but there's just a lot to go over. And again, this is going to be a series, and you see why I'm not going to just say it all in one video. Item bases. Ethereal bonuses reduced from 50% to 25%. Most exceptional / elite weapons rebalance so that the S stats remain the same. Ethereal items no longer have half durability. Throwing weapons and arrow bolts now have an unlimited quality, and there's also rare arrows, quivers, and rare bolts. Very, very cool. All claws now have point mods, so very helpful for assassins. Clubs can now have druid point mods similar to pelts, so you can get on clubs, you can get Firestorm or Arctic Blast or something. Daggers now have point mods for dagger-related skills, i.e. Poison Strike and the martial arts skills for assassins. Quivers can now be magic or rare, as I said. Melee weapons now deal splash damage. Staves have 10%, 30%, 50% FCR as an auto mod, normal, exceptional, elite. Crossbows now have enemy physical pierce. It says 10%, but now they reduced it to 5 because it was just a little overtuned. Everyone was just using crossbows. Daggers have 20% deadly strike as an auto mod, which is awesome. Very helpful early game too, picking up a dagger. Get that 20% deadly strike early game. Excuse me. Here, I gotta take been talking a lot. Let me get a little sip. Okay. Removed hidden move speed penalty from medium / heavy chest and shields. So armor would affect your move speed. Not anymore. Paladin shield auto mods all resist ranges reduced. Maximum is 30 instead of 45 now. Paladin shields are just broken. Now paladin shields are still really good. for when you want to use them to make rune words in and stuff if you're a paladin. But yeah, kick damage of boots adjusted for kick assassins, kicksons. Damage bonus from strength, dexterity adjusted for several weapon types. Base damage for normal, exceptional, elite weapons increased on average by 4%, 42%, 24%. Excuse me. Attack speed, WSM for Amazon gear improved by 10. And they actually adjusted jab and fend. Actually, they reverted fend, but they increased the animation for jab. So jab just attacks even faster now. Very cool. Melee range increased for many weapon bases. Base defense and block chance increased for ward and Aegis shields. Base defense adjusted for chest armors to correspond better to their strength requirements. Maximum sockets increased for several weapons, bases, and necromancer shields. Durability increased for all weapons. Item affixes have received several changes, especially for the rare. Some notable examples: elemental damage affixes for charms, normalized according to charm size and elemental strength. There's also new charms that they have. They have elemental percent damage charms for large charms as well, and magic damage charms. Very cool. Here's some examples: +2 to 3 fire, cold, lightning, poison, or magic for large charms. 3 sockets for rare chests, shields, and weapons. Those can roll as mods. 5 to 20% PDR for chests. Shields are 5 to 10% PDR for belts. 10 to 20% FCR for chests. Shields plus 10% FCR for gloves and belts. Yeah, I guess I have seen faster cast rate on gloves. I take it back. 10 to 200% enhanced damage for chests and shields. So you can find some crazy rare chests. +1 class skills for chests, shields, and helms. 5 to 30% deadly strike, crushing blow, or open wounds for most rare weapons. 300 to 400% enhanced damage for some of the lesser used weapons and bows on gear. So rare items are even stronger. Let's get on to crafting. Crafting has been completely overhauled. Any base except circlets and quivers may be used for crafting. So you can't craft circlets and you can't craft quivers. Really? You can't craft circlets? Yeah, I guess not, but you can just find some rare circlets. Crafting with ethereal items caused the resulting item to be ethereal. So maybe there was something in original Diablo 2 where you could craft on an ethereal one and it would just make it normal. I don't remember. Crafted items no longer have higher level requirements than their rare equivalents. So it's not going to change the item value level once you craft something due to the stats mods. Or crafted items and set items can now be upgraded. So you can actually upgrade your craft items afterwards, just like upgrading uniques, as well as set items. Rare items can now be used in crafting recipes. So yeah, wasn't it originally like six perfect skulls to re-roll crafted stuff? Crafted stats. Anyway, but now it's like 3 or something. Recipes. Some recipes have been simplified. New repair recipe that uses Zod and works with ethereal/broken items. So if you have an ethereal item for some reason and you didn't put a Zod in it, so it's indestructible, you can repair the ethereal item with a Zod. So anyway, good luck with that if you need that. Other new modified recipes corresponding to new items. Anyway, moving on. Non-player characters, NPCs. Jaren and his guards now always stand outside the palace of Luke Ghislaine, so you don't have to chase them around to find them. They're more stuck in place. Deckard Cain now wanders at the top of the stairs at Hieroglyph near Mala. Anya will give a regular tier 1 map in Hell in addition to her normal reward once you do her quest. So now you don't have to, like, after you beat the game, you're like, I need a map and I can't find maps, because sometimes maps wouldn't drop. It take a while. She automatically gives you a map, and maps are typically more common to drop in maps themselves. So easier to get going on maps. Ormus will give a corrupted ring as a reward for returning the Gidbin, or Gidbin. Sorry, Gidbin. So it's nice you get a corrupted ring upon completing the quest. And I think Anya gives it as well now on completing the Deckard Cain quest. I can't remember. Someone's texting me. Give me 1 sec, guys. Okay, sorry about that. I just had to respond to a text. Anyway, we're at the Ormus thing. So moving on. Healing NPCs now remove chill and additional other ailments like curses and stuff. So when you go talk to Mala or Anya, or not Anya, Akara, things like that. They'll heal you. Mercenaries. Mercenaries have improved AI, which they definitely do. New Act 4 mercenaries, like you saw, Haradra mages, and new versions of Act 1 and Act 5 mercenaries. Mercenaries can now equip gloves, boots, belts, like we saw, and some additional weapon types. Old mercenaries drop their equipment when a new one is hired, as you guys saw. Mercenaries from each act now grant auras, so they always have something that benefit them. Mercenaries use new skills. Mercenaries now have the same stats, regardless of which difficulty they're hired from. Open wounds now deals quarter damage to mercenaries and pets, and can be further reduced by physical damage reduction. So mercenaries total rework, rebalance. We'll get into what the changes are in another video. Monsters, duration of curse cast by monsters has been reduced by 20 seconds, and they even changed how Oblivion Knights cast. They just don't cast on you as soon as they see you. They now have to have a chance to cast in order for you to get cursed. So that's a lot more benefit. Monsters can now spawn with concentration, vigor, or holy shock auras. Dolls now have a small delay before exploding when killed. Their explosion has a smaller radius and deals less damage. That is huge. And you can still die from them for sure, too, if you get stuck in an animation when you kill them or something. But at least you have a little counterplay to get away when you kill a mob of dolls and you can leave. Mephisto can now float over the blood moat Endurance of Hate, and the council members Endurance of Hate are closer to Mephisto. So no more cheesing Mephisto with like Blizzard Sork or something like that and getting him locked in place. He will come over to you. Andariel and Duriel and Hell difficulty now uses the same loot tables as Mephisto and Baal, respectively, so they have better items. Uber key holders, Countess, Summoner, Nilithak, Bloodraven, Bloodrich, Isuel are stronger. Uber Ancients are a new Uber boss, so just like the ancient fight that you do to get into the Worldstone Keep, there is Uber materials that you just like to do Uber Tristram, and you can go Uber Ancients, and you can choose how many of them you want to fight. You want to fight one of them, you want to fight two, you want to fight three. Each of them increase the loot drop when you kill them. After you kill all three of them, it's like a giant super chest explosion, and you can get some good items from it. They are very dangerous, though, especially Malik. He's or Madwick or whatever. He's very, very dangerous. Diablo clone is much harder and is now accessed with the new Visions of Terror item instead of selling Stones of Jordan. So you have to use new crafting materials that are dropped from map bosses as well as LOD bosses like Diablo and Baal or Mephisto. They can drop pure demonic essences. And I forget the other one, Primeval Souls. I think that's the other one, PSEs, to create the Diablo clone Vision of Terror. Then you go to the Blood Fountain in Horograth, and you can go do the declone fight. And in Diablo clone and Rathma, which is a new there it is right here. Rathma is new Uber boss, which is a three-stage boss fight. Both of these, Diablo clone and Rathma, have Uber unique items that they can drop, which is incredibly rare. And I just turned my flashlight off for some reason. Sorry, guys. Okay, we are almost done here, guys. PvP changes. Skill PvP damage has been rebalanced, and some skills have other balance changes. New dueling arena areas accessible via items that can be purchased from Akara. There's a spectator mode that can be toggled on by typing .spec or spectate within the safe zone of the arena, so you don't have to fight in the Blood Moor anymore. And also, if you are in these arenas, these dueling arenas, and you're a hardcore character, your hardcore character won't die. So it allows hardcore players to enjoy dueling. After dying in these areas, characters will revive without needing to retrieve their corpse, and no gold is dropped. Note, hardcore players revive in the same way. Hardcore dueling can be done in PvP areas without risking characters, but character death is still permanent everywhere else. So if you duel in the Blood Moor, you done. Which can be fun too, I guess. Maximum resistances are capped based on the difficulty of the PvP area. 75 is normal, 80% is nightmare, 85% in hell. Open wounds is limited based on difficulty. It deals 10%, 8%, 6% of its damage in normal, nightmare, and hell in PvP arenas. Slow, knockback from items, absorbs, attacker takes damage, life lead, melee splash are disabled in PvP arenas. Stuns in PvP can no longer be reapplied to the player who are already stunned, so you can't stun lock people in PvP. And attacks, hits, spells against stunned players will reduce the stun duration by 2 frames each in PvP arenas. Regenerating charges, e.g. Blink on Enigma, regenerate 20%, 200% faster in PvP arenas. Enigma got a rework with teleport and stuff, but we'll go over that with Runewords in another video. Life replenish is capped at plus 30 in PvP arenas. Vendors within PvP arenas sell dueling mana potions. Other potions cannot be used in the dueling arenas, and they also now sell skill charms in the that can only be used in the dueling arenas. And it just gives, like, if you +1 summon druid and 15 life. It's just life skillers, grand charms, but again, it can only be used in PvP arenas, and it's just a way for people to kind of balance their characters out a little bit. Okay, the very last bit. Endarial quest bug has been fixed in multiplayer only, so you can still Endarial bug in single player. Ethereal armor bug, e-bug from socketing recipe fixed. Council Hydra damage against mercenaries and summons fixed, tied to PvP damage changes. Trap bug fixed. Traps no longer decrease the number of unique and champion packs that may spawn nearby. So I didn't even realize this, and I kind of forgot until we read it again, that back in Diablo 2, if you're a trap assassin and you go into an area, you cast out all your traps, your traps would count as monster spawn. So they had a chance to unsummon or prevent monsters from summoning. So nice little fix. Act 2 mercenaries no longer crash the game due to delirium. Chance to cast delirium was removed from the Runeword itself, so they can't jab enemies as a fetish. So it just fixed game crashing, and who cares? It just helps it out. No one really cared about that stat anyway on delirium. It's really just the +2 stuff that they want. Here's the big one that really helps a lot of builds like Whirlwind and stuff, and casting abilities. Mana burn bug has been fixed, so it just doesn't. Mana burn just applies nicely. Now, Bale's mana fire breath burn still knocks all your mana out, but at least, when you go into the Chaos Sank and see those caster things that mana burn, it just doesn't drain your mana right away. So it made Whirlwind a lot better too. Jewels with enhanced damage or min-max damage will now work correctly. Paladin charge desync bug fix. Charge Paladin is a real deal. Cloak of Shadows will no longer crash the game at the Ancients. All missile skills now properly benefit from the skill attack rating bonus. Quest items can no longer be upgraded into hand axes. Upgrading recipe is disabled for this item. Lilith can no longer spawn outside the map. I guess she used to in Ubers or mini Ubers. Fixed a bug which caused excessive magic damage reduction to apply to physical damage reduction if the target's magic/elemental damage reduction was higher than the attack's magic/elemental damage. Dual wielding attack speed breakpoints are now always based on the fastest weapon. WSM bug was removed. Increased sprite limit to prevent shank bug, where too many sprites were on the screen at once, causing things to become temporarily invisible. Fixed the next hit always misses bug. NHAM bug, which caused the next attack/cast to automatically miss and could be triggered numerous ways, notably by being hit or blocked in the attack. So that makes melee just so much better, especially attacks like or skills like Zeal and stuff like that. Fixed a bug that prevented champion/boss monsters from being blue and/slash purple. So that's very, very cool. And probably many other bugs. Here's a whole list of bugs that you can fix. So this is all the general changes. I know this video went a little longer. And again, this is all for mostly new players. And if people like these videos, I will go through this whole wiki page and we will make things so you guys can just put on some headphones, do some work or something, and just listen to these changes, and hopefully this has made you guys consider maybe joining Project Diablo II Mod. If you do join it, maybe consider donating, and you enjoy it and you love it, you want to play it, consider maybe donating to the PayPal that they have set up, or become a Patreon. And if you donate to the Patreon or even through donations through PayPal, if you reach a certain point, you can get closed beta access. And it's a really nice, wonderful mod. I've played it pretty much every season, and I can't go back to regular Diablo 2. Anyway, I'm going to post this video. Let me know if you guys like it in the comments, and or let me know which ones you guys want to see next, whether it's skill balances, items, rune words, maps, and I'll make a video for that. And I'll see you guys in season 11.